What if I told you that even if the Transportation Freedom Act bill does not stop California's control over vehicles' emissions, there is a backup plan already in motion. It's called the Stop CARB Act of 2025, and it's another major push in Congress to eliminate California's special waiver under the Clean Air Act and permanently stop other states from copying California's extreme emissions mandates. Today, we're going to break it all down, what this bill does, why it matters, and why it could be the final blow to California's ability to control what you drive in the other 49 states.
EPA will be reconsidering many suffocating rules that restrict nearly every sector of our economy, cost Americans trillions of dollars. Our actions include the Biden administration's deeply flawed Clean Power Plan 2.0, mercury and air toxic standards, Quad O BC, particulate matter 2.5, light, medium, and heavy car and truck rules, NESHAPs, and the so-called social cost of carbon.
Now let's be real. This is no longer just about one bill. This is a growing movement in Congress to shut down CARB's power before it forces a nationwide EV future. While the Transportation Freedom Act gives us a strong foundation to protect American workers and car buyers, this new bill, the Stop CARB Act, is a surgical strike targeting the root of the problem, California's waiver under the Clean Air Act that President Biden snuck in the last minute. Now, this is a rule that lets other states adopt California standards and even regulations for off-road vehicles, tractors, and construction equipment as well. Now, this bill would wipe out CARB's ability completely, including all waivers previously granted and pending approval. And more importantly, it prevents this kind of emissions overreach from ever happening again.
Look, here's the facts. We didn't ask for the rules to change. We didn't want them to change, but they did. And we can try to outrun them, but that would be a 9-second pass straight into extinction.
Now, if you're wondering why this matters, here's the deal. Because right now, 17 states follow California's rules under Section 177 of the Clean Air Act. That means that over 40% of the U.S. population is subject to California's style of emission laws, even if you live nowhere near California. Like me, thousands of miles away in North Carolina, and there's plenty of people like you and me that cannot vote in California to have an effect on who is appointed to CARB. Now, this forces automakers, on the other hand, to build two different versions of every vehicle, a CARB-compliant version and a non-CARB-compliant version. That is double the engineering, double the certification, and it adds a huge cost to manufacturing. A lot of you Mopar guys know the nonsense we've had to deal with non-CARB Challengers, Chargers, and TRXs, especially in states where you try to go buy a vehicle in Texas that's cheaper and import it back to California, and you run into a bunch of nonsense that you can't get that vehicle registered into California. Now, if this Stop the CARB Act passes, those headaches will go away completely. The weather's warming up, which means it is time to bring your favorite ride out of hibernation. And what better way to kick off the season than by saving up to 15% off on the top aftermarket accessories for your muscle car, pony car, truck, or SUV. My friends at Just Bolt-Ons and DragRacingWheels.com have you covered. Use my promo code BUTTER at checkout, and if you need some sticky Mickeys, you got till March 31st to save up to $100 on a set of tires. So don't wait. Hit up my friends at Just Bolt-Ons and DragRacingWheels.com, where the best deals online just got even better. No more CARB states, no more two versions of the same vehicles, no more having to deal with buying cars only in California because they know that you cannot really go to other states and buy non-CARB vehicles. Just one national standard which lowers cost, increases vehicle choices, and makes it easier for companies like Stellantis, Ford, GM, and others to keep offering cars, muscle cars, V8 trucks, and other performance vehicles without getting crushed by emissions fines.
Today, the Green New Scam ends as the EPA does its part to usher in the golden age of American success. Our actions will lower the cost of living by making it more affordable to purchase a car, heat your home, and operate a business. Jobs will be created. especially in the US auto industry, and our nation will become stronger for it. From the campaign trail to day one and beyond, President Trump has delivered on his promise to unleash energy dominance and lower the cost of living. We at EPA will do our part to power the great American comeback.
Now, there's something that the UAW and every auto worker should care about. CARB rules did not just kill the V8 engines. They pushed automakers to ship production to other countries with more relaxed regulations because it is cheaper to make EVs and emissions-friendly vehicles overseas because of increased costs of batteries, emissions equipment, and increasing wages here in the United States. By eliminating CARB and forcing one federal standard, this bill creates more certainty and makes it easier to keep vehicle production in the United States. Even my dear friend Tim Kuniskis, the CEO of RAM, lays it out perfectly on why he had to deal with this nonsense of dealing with emissions on a monthly basis.
Really forces you to self-regulate. It forces you to make the tough calls, and we literally adjust our plans on a monthly basis based on where we see the trajectory of compliance. Knowing that we're going into this environment have forced us into a space where we had to develop a whole new powertrain strategy. We wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for those regulations. So it's super tough, but the CEO, he burned our boats, and we're forced to make the tough calls to make sure that we're on a trajectory towards a long-term compliance. No one knows what's going to happen, with the regulatory environment if there's a change in administration. So
think about it. If this bill passes, one emissions rule book for the entire country, meaning no more smog or other weird emissions equipment on certain vehicles, no more California EV mandates pushing companies to make abominations like the Charter Daytona or the Mustang Mach-E. You're going to have lower manufacturing costs because all those costly emission systems are now going to be gone, and there's more incentive to keep plants in the United States. If you're in the auto industry or support blue-collar jobs, this is a win-win for American workers. The Stop CARB Act does not just stop at cars and trucks. It also bans states from creating their own emissions rules for non-road vehicles like farm equipment, construction machinery, tractors, and even locomotives. This matters because if California controls emissions for these industries too, they can affect everything from agriculture to freight, all the way up to infrastructure. Now, with this bill, no state, not even California, can go rogue and try to create their own emissions laws that disrupt national industries. Heck, in California, they don't even want people to have gasoline-powered lawnmowers, weed eaters, leaf blowers, and oddly enough, they don't want people in California to have gasoline-powered chainsaws in a state that has massive forest fires every single year. And these are the same people that want to handicap the rest of the country with their weird policies. Just saying. But let's be honest, this is about a freedom of choice. No state should tell the rest of the country what kind of cars they're allowed to buy. Not California, not CARB, not anyone. You were not like for me to enforce my laws on you and you had no say about it. So don't do it to me. Now, I don't live there. I don't vote in California. So where is the democracy in my vote affecting CARB's policies? This bill protects our freedom to drive what we want, whether it is an EV, a hybrid, a V6, a 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi V8 Demon 170 or 1,025 horsepower. Love that horsepower. And for automakers, this levels a playing field. No need of having to make one version of California, then another version of Texas. Just make one great car, meet one set of federal standards, and let the market decide. We need this bill if the other one fails, the Transportation Freedom Act, because this right here might be our last line of defense if that is the case.
The Environmental Protection Agency is initiating 31 historic actions to fulfill President Trump's promise to unleash American energy.
So what do you guys think? Do you support this second bill to finally shut down CARB's powers? Should Congress stop California from pushing its emissions rules on the rest of the United States? And should automakers be able to build one national version of every vehicle without being penalized for offering gasoline engines? Let me know in the comment section below. And until the next time, I'm out.